last thing we'll need to do is just go ahead and you sign that, and then we'll get with Cindy and she can sign that, and then that should get us done, to my understanding. Cindy probably knows more.
Works for me.
Yeah, the instructions are in the message that I sent in the Discord.
All right.
I don't remember it. I don't keep that stuff in my brain too long.
Hey, so back to the big meeting.
Okay.
Right. We have already done roll call. We are at reading of minutes of the last meeting. Do we have a second to read the minutes of the last meeting?
Seconded.
All right. We're going to move right into this as soon as I can find it. There it is. Okay. I'm going to read through this really quick. We had Frankie Demento and Chris Sapp as members of the monarchy who chose to show up for the March meeting, which was very nice. Lord Bear made some wonderful commentary about his travels. Paul was very busy last month, so we did not talk about the trailer update. We talked about how storage was an issue with Westmarch, with stuff being stored at people's houses, which is fine. We did not have a scribe update. We'll ignore this.
Interesting. Interesting.
Somebody mute
Wait,
that.
did
Somebody
somebody
mute
forget
that
to
person.
volunteer?
Yeah. So we talked about bank account access, which we were able to get some positive traction on, which we were very happy about. We talked about recruitment a little bit, and I think we definitely got to a point where recruitment is just going to fall outside of the BoD purview. There are so many other things to focus on. There's no reason for us to focus on recruitment at this point in time, unless the liaison decides that they want to do something. We got a lot of conversation about Amcard International in our finance update. Scoot did a lot of research for us. Thank you very much. I was able to eventually speak with Fix. I was able to speak very briefly with Christine, and we are going to talk about reaching out to Amcard International today, whether it's a good idea and what we should do. We plan on making our good faith payments to Amcard International, and that is a goal that we have. And we are working with Justin Smith, as we discussed earlier, about Wells Fargo. We did not need the special session, which was very nice because less work is always great. We talked about going to 501c3. I think everybody's kind of very interested in this, and it's something we definitely will probably be talking about in the future. Make Victoria do the work on that. Check. Okay. Digital waivers. I think a lot of people agree that digital waivers are certainly something we should really strongly look into, and we will definitely be talking about in the future. Rose made some wonderful comments on the pathway to getting digital waivers active and how we would notify all lands how to use digital waivers, and we're going to force Victoria to make a new legal ironclad waiver for all of Amcard. So thank you for that. BoD, yes.
With that, and have it be bilingual.
Oh, of course, trilingual, absolutely trilingual. BoD enticement, we are working on a BoD handbook. We'll talk more about that later. Social media and online presence, how Westmarch members can submit enhancement requests for our online presence, and what can the BoD do to help tidying up that online presence. Talking about heir apparent positions, Bear really wants people to focus on heir apparent, and that's something that we hopefully will be able to see in the future. V9 rules discussion. We asked Dagger, should we be discussing V9 rules? And Dagger said, we're good. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. Nothing that we should focus on. Trademark the Westmarch logo. That's something that we probably will be doing. At least discussing, of course, not doing, but discussing whether it should be done. Rose made a bad engineering joke, and Walter Brown somewhere left. Why don't we have a link tree and a viewable QR code? We have an update for that this month. Wells Fargo, let's discuss switching. I did do some research on that. We'll talk about it. Recommend Bear for awards. He's doing great. And somebody brought up that Bear technically got SG kicked out of their park. And the meeting was adjourned. So that was last month's meeting. Are we cool moving to April agenda?
I
Yep.
move to approve the meetings as read, or minutes as read.
Seconded.
Yep, I second that as well.
And
For announcements,
Can I
yes,
actually
go
make,
for it.
can we, I know this is ridiculous, but can we read and approve the minutes from the 5-minute meeting we just had?
1000%. Yes. Let me go ahead and share that screen right now.
As long as it takes less than 5 minutes.
Whoa, geez.
As long as I can add it to my newsletter, yes.
Who invited that person?
It was totally Cindy,
Yeah.
who did it because I suggested it.
I thought I was getting forced into this.
I
Well,
mean, anytime that we can make Jay spend time with us is good time.
This
Can
is very
confirm.
true.
All right, so we as a group discussed and Jose, please make sure that you are taking notes on this because this is important for the minutes. We
this is the wrong
discussed.
copy.
You are absolutely correct. Can everybody see this new copy?
Not
Yep.
yet.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the old copy.
All right, let me hold a second. Share.
I'm gonna be honest, it's on my phone, so it's way too small for me to actually like read.
That's
Um,
okay. This one, I should be sharing the correct one now.
This is the correct
Okay.
copy.
All right,
I can see
wonderful.
it.
So I'm going to read through the previous meeting that we had earlier on April 18th. There were many individuals that were present, including the CEO, president, and CFO. We decided that we should remove Justin Smith as an executive on Wells Fargo accounts and put Cynthia Woody as key executive on all Wells Fargo accounts. We decided to use Andrew Brown's address, and this document will be signed so that we can move forward with the Wells Fargo transmission.
Yay. Motion to approve.
I
For
move to amend
real
these
quick at
minutes.
the
Seconded.
bottom, I just had a real quick thing where it says signed. Is there supposed to be 2 signatures there? I believe it's supposed to be 2. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, good. Okay,
I'll
got it. Perfect.
I'll send it to you to e-sign, and then I'll e-sign it as well.
This
Perfect.
needs one other amendment. The
What's that?
address in the letterhead needs to change.
What's the address?
Should be the same as mine, 615
Oh, okay.
Frederick Avenue.
Just
And
not whoever
capitalize
previous
Woody.
one was.
Thank you for catching
615,
that.
not 515, sir.
Thank you, Scribe.
This is my duty.
Nice.
All right. Motion to move back to the April itinerary.
I move to approve these minutes as amended.
Seconded.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it. This is great. Okay. Now, all right. Let's for announcements and shout outs, let's work encouraging people to update their AMP wiki. There was an individual whose name I can't remember at the moment who said we need to get people to update their AMP wiki and get their AMP wiki presence going. So go to your parks and tell people to create an AMP wiki if they don't have one, or update their old one. All
Does
right.
anyone have a good set of directions on how to do that? Because I have people ask me all the time and I'm very wiki illiterate. So my answer is, I don't know, which isn't very helpful for them.
There's a basic template available, and if you put the template in, it's not that hard to fill in for anybody.
Okay, I understand that that's basically true. But if you don't understand what a lot of the template is, doing stuff like adding pictures and some of the other things, if you're not very good with doing it, can be very confusing.
I think we can do an SOP. I think that's a task that we could technically add, and somebody could just crank out an easy SOP.
Yeah. Or if anyone knows of one that's like, hey, this is how you do the add picture thing, and this is what all of the weird formula stuff that it's very important if you accidentally erase mean.
If I'm allowed to volunteer myself for that, I do know how to mess with the wiki.
That
that
sounds
would be
definitely
awesome.
like a secretary type position.
Oh,
Scribe.
thank you. Okay.
Jay
Scribe.
said
Sorry,
they will
chicken.
do it.
So by the end of, I will say by the end of the week on like Friday-ish, I will
Don't-
try my best to crank one out.
Awesome.
Don't rush.
And
That sounds great.
also, if you need any help understanding some of it, I also know how to do AntWiki. And I also have connections to one of the people who helped build it. So.
Oh, awesome.
Anything for you, Roger?
All right. We are going to go to the April agenda, and because of the time, I would like to talk about the scribe update first. The Prime Minister has a statement that they would like to make based upon Article 4, Section 8, Subclause 4.
Oh, so I am here to announce that Jay will be our scribe.
Yay.
Hello.
And
Thank
so
you, Jay, for stepping up.
thank
Much
you for
appreciated.
being voluntold.
Cindy told me I have to do this, or I get kicked out of the park. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Thank you guys for having me. It is a pleasure.
We can't kick you out of the park because you already stated that you were voluntarily leaving. So
I would never voluntarily leave. I was forced out.
You did quit. You were fired. All right. Bank account access. Any updates from Wendy or Andy? Obviously, we are in the process of transitioning to get Cynthia on the Wells Fargo account. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to recommend we postpone this conversation until May. Is that acceptable?
I move to table this motion or this item
when is the payment due?
now.
So
for which one? For Starkshore?
no, the $500 payment to AI, because if that's due,
Oh,
we
okay.
might want to get with whoever it currently is on the bank account and get them
Okay.
to pay it.
So one thing that I did want to state is that we don't have just a Wells Fargo account. We also have a PayPal account. And there's a significant balance in there. And it should be able to cover it if we can use PayPal to pay for it. And I have access to that account.
Does anyone know if there's any particular reason we wouldn't be?
AmpGuard International prefers payment via PayPal, so that would only make sense.
Okay, sweet. So that should be able to be taken care of on time.
Yeah, as long as I have the information to make the payment, which is probably in the somewhere in the payment history of PayPal, I'm sure that I would be able to send it through there.
I do have documentation on how to make the payment to AmpGuard International as well.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
trying to pull it up right now as we speak.
Sweet.
Let's see here.
I'm just now getting in my car, so I'm gonna be on mute. But if you guys need me while I'm driving to my location, then I'll pop in there. But I only had the three things to talk about. The taxes that we need to do for next month. It's just a card that has to be filled out. The dark store payment, and then something about the website. But we can always postpone the website one discussion.
Okay. So if we're able to make the payment, I would second Andy's motion to just go ahead and table that one until people are on the bank account.
Seconded.
Wait,
Sweet.
tabling
Also-
the payment to AI?
No.
Tabling discussing the other stuff like updates from Cynthia and
Oh, okay.
the bank account access stuff. So as long as we have the payment squared away, everything else can wait.
I second that. Let's let Cynthia have permission. I mean, we shouldn't need permission, of course, but let's help Cynthia make the payment via PayPal, and then we'll try and consolidate Wells Fargo. I think we should strongly discuss taking the money from PayPal and putting it into Wells Fargo so we can consolidate all the funds in one area and only use the PayPal as necessary, because you don't need to have money sitting in PayPal to use it. It just needs to be linked to the account.
There was also talk of changing away from Wells Fargo, though, so we might want to figure that out before we do removing from PayPal.
I did some research on credit unions, something I feel very strongly about, and where there is a large group of credit unions in Southern California, there is minimal in Northern California, and the ones that are large in Northern California are minimal in Southern California. So if Dragonvale gets off the ground, there are several wonderful credit unions that they could utilize, and Westmarch could focus on that. But for right now, at this very second, I could not find an adequate nonprofit or not-for-profit institution that was accessible by everybody from Sacktown and way up and back down.
Okay.
I very much wanted to. Navy Federal was the closest. California Coast Credit Union was another one. And then there was a couple other credit unions, but none of them had like 5 in Sacramento and 5 in San Francisco. It was like 1 every 100 miles. It was not conducive to a good idea, in my opinion.
Okay.
I'd just like to point out that I appreciate your rhyme scheme.
I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you.
He is a bard.
All right. So monarchy positions. Right now, a lot of individuals are requesting people to step up and run for leadership positions. I would like everybody in this meeting to try and help find somebody to fill a position. There's several parks that are looking for individuals to run, including Westmarch itself. So encourage others to get involved. That's all there is there.
I tried really hard to get a Zeus to run for Monarch, and he almost did it.
I appreciate that, James. I really do. I think Jesus would be a little Monarch. I worry that he already does a lot, if that makes any sense.
Hey, Milan, on that vein, why aren't you running for Monarch of SG?
For the past month, I've been very sick, and I won't lie to you, I'm not as prepared for this meeting as I would normally like to be, and I apologize to everybody here for it. But I've been under the weather and off the grid for a bit, and I'm sorry for that. I really am. I would like to run for Monarch, but it's also an hour and 20-minute drive to buddy Todd from Ramona, and that also I wouldn't be good enough for the park at this point in time. I hope so in the future, but I can't do it this time. I am thinking about regent or prime minister to see if I can potentially fill that in, but at the moment I'm strapped. I apologize.
No worries. You just make a really good Monarch.
Well, if 2008 is anything to go on. Anyways,
I don't know what you're talking about. My memories of you being Monarch was you always did a really good job, and a bunch of people were bitchy.
Anyways,
that's moving forward. Circle of Paragons. Dagger brought this to our attention that there is now bylaws that the Circle of Paragons needs to create, and they fall under the BoD jurisdiction. We need to ensure that the circle is forming and that the bylaws are being written. For those who are on a decent screen, I'm going to make this a better size so you can take a look at it. But it says right here, the Circle of Paragons shall consist of all Paragons who are members of Westmarch. They will create, maintain, and abide by their own set of bylaws, as long as they do not supersede or violate the Corpora, etc., etc. The bylaws and any changes to them must be verified for legality with the Westmarch Board of Directors. So we need to follow up, not today, but in the future, with the Circle of Paragons and ensure that they are doing what was approved in the most recent alt thing.
I have information on that if you want it.
I very much would like it. Yes.
Cool. So there's discussion on what to put in the bylaws and no solid decisions on bylaws themselves at this time. So there's nothing for the board of directors to verify for legality yet.
That's okay. We will keep it on the radar. And as long as we know about it and we've talked about it, then we've done our job.
I just want to say that whatever genius it was that wrote this Kapora update, it's great that they that they included the board of directors in I wrote it. It's me.
Didn't I bring that up to you in discussion?
Thanks,
Isn't
Paul.
that why you wrote it? It was a
Okay.
good time.
All right. Cynthia is currently driving. So
But
we're
she
going to
also has to leave at 6:30. She had said.
Yes. All right. We need to get the taxes submitted. I am currently working on finding tax information. I've reached out to Fix. I've reached out to Azus. Does anybody in this meeting know where the tax details are from 2022 or 2021?
Azus was the one who submitted it, so he should have that information. If he did it through paper, then he would be the only one. If he did it through email, then it would probably be on the Westmarch email account.
I
I
can
should
look
say
at that.
2022.
I have been unable to get access to the Westmarch email account. Not that I need it, but I just would like to start creating, records and saving them somewhere that's easily accessible. That's something we've discussed briefly previously and will discuss in the future. But if anybody has any information on that, the e-card for taxes is something that can be filed completely online. It does fall under the purview of Cynthia. I would really like Andrew to potentially offer to assist and anybody else who wants to assist so we can get it submitted this month.
I'm looking at the Westmarch Gmail now to see if I can find anything on taxes.
Appreciate it.
I'm trying to remember. I believe
I'm going to step away for 10 seconds. Please keep talking.
the discussion was when we were paying taxes last year. I believe what happened was it was all submitted just online. So I don't know if there would be a trail for that in the email.
I'm not seeing anything.
I do remember that it was Azus who did it because it was on my notes that I had to keep on doing for, I want to say 3 weeks. And then he was like, oh, I submitted it. And then I was like, great, I get to remove that from the continuing note item. But I don't think he gave any specifics about how or where the stuff was stored or anything.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on the Westmarch Amp card.
That's okay. I will reach out to Ace and ask him if he has a copy of the tax information. Moving forward, I strongly think we should find a pathway to ensure that the tax information for the past 3 or 4 years is easy to find by anybody. Do you have any tax info for 2021 or 2022 for Westmarch? Just sent an email, a message to Azus. All right.
Do you want to change those years? Because technically we need to submit 2022, don't we?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that, Andrew.
You know me, always being bossy.
That's fine. That's fine. It's worked out well for you. Okay. Jose Chavez, are you there, my friend?
Yes, I'm just taking the notes right now.
Thank you so much. I would like, if it's okay, to ask for you to talk about your Linktree success. You did something that was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I can. I remember it was by Rose mentioning it before on how the QR code thing was going with the link tree.
That was actually
I-
Milan.
Okay, Mulan. Okay, I remember you guys were mentioning. Okay, I also can't see that my thing's glowing. It's weird. What I did was before our raid that we had for Baby Red Zombie raid is like the day before, I ended up making a yard sign, and I got it done in like during my lunch the day before, and it's easy. It's actually really simple from Staples, in which I got it done within that day. I got it like done like at 8 in the morning, and they got it printed out by like 6. I brought it out, and during that raid, we had about, from the analytics from that site, we had about 22 scans during
wow.
that time of the raid. As of right now, we have 40 views, 12 clicks. Really weird with the clicks. And that's the type of activity that we have. And so far from using it, it's really easy. If you ever had it where you printed all the flyers and then you didn't put it for unlimited or forever, and it's like 7 days and then all those flyers useless. The thing I liked about it, and so far what I've noticed, it's easy to change it out whenever you need to put a new link in there.
Because
So
the
the
QR
QR
code
code-
continues to work, you can change where the QR code goes.
Yeah, or like let's say your Discord crumbled and you made a new Discord. You can swap it out and put the new Discord right there. If you
But
wanted to
that would
put
be where we have to continue paying for the QR code, correct? Or no?
No, it's all completely free.
Okay.
It's all completely free. You can pay. There are upgrades you can do just to get more like analytics and look at more of the stuff. But I'm doing the free side, and it's fairly a lot better for me to do it this way.
So is that through Staples, or that's through a website that you printed on the Staples thing?
So Linktree gives me the QR code, or like like the was it the link to my Linktree, and then for Staples they say, oh, we can convert any link you have, or if you have your own QR code, post it. And with that one, I did both methods, where I had the Linktree QR code, and then I copied and pasted the Linktree link to the Staples Center's QR code processor they're able to do for you. And it came out perfectly. I printed out the image, did the background for the Valley symbol, and it's honestly, it's really easy just to shove it into the dirt, pop it out if I don't need to, and I put it just far enough so people are walking by, they can just scan it and not have to come up to us.
How much did it cost to print the sign?
$23.
So for $23, that comes with the QR code. The Linktree website doesn't cost you anything, and you give them the Discord, the Facebook, and everything, right?
Yeah.
And so far, you've gotten 40 interactions.
Yeah, and it looks like I have 4 clicks on the Facebook group, 3 clicks on a Discord, 4 clicks on the cometrylarp.com, so that way they can try out other LARPs, not just ours, just in case they're out of town. And then the ampguard.com. And then, those are all the things I have on there for right now.
So are these analytics through Linktree? Is that where you're getting those?
Yeah,
Yes.
they show you, and you can even get more in depth if you get a lot of feed, you can pay for that upgrade. But if, like for me, it just shows, oh, you got this many clicks, that many clicks. If you want to get like into the super, like, oh, what is the percentage of like these people that click my things? I think you got to pay more for that. But in general, it's like, oh, you had these people click it on this particular day, that many people. And and also you can turn off or on what you want people to see. So like I said, if I wanted to remove something, actually, hold on, let me see if I can share my screen real quick. If I'm able to.
I'm going to stop sharing mine. See if you can share yours.
Host is disabled. No, I'm not able to.
Give me a second.
Thank you.
Advanced sharing options. Who can share? All participants. All right, you should be good now.
Awesome. Okay, so basically this is kind of what it shows right here, where it shows the links. This is how many clicks I had for Valley, Discord, and all that. And then this is a TikTok that I made for my thing to try to get more people. And you can always just turn it
Nice.
off. No one will be able to see it now. I can turn it back on. People can see it. I want a different QR code. I can click this, put a new link on there. I can change the title of whatever I want to be put there. And
Nice.
you can also just rearrange however you want to put it. If you want Facebook down here, if you want Facebook up here, you know, rearrange it however you want to. And then
And
you
the
can-
bit on the right is what it looks like whenever people are looking at it.
yes, that's basically how it gives you an example of how it's gonna look on your phone, and that's everything you see right here. And then up here you can just you have 35 words you can put, or sorry, 35 characters. You can put whatever you want to as a headliner. I can take it off, removes it, back on, right there.
Nice.
You can add an additional link. You can change appearances if you want to get into that. Right here, Valley of the Fallen. 80, you guys can add more if you want to be. I'm probably gonna have someone who's better at trying to capture people's attention with the bio there. And
Will that
Mhm.
person's name be Spade?
then maybe. But like right here, this is a basic thing I can click right there, add that to it.
Ooh.
I can change it. It looks like there's more options right here as well, and upgrades give you more stylisher things. But I mean, my park is we don't need that.
Nice.
Yeah. And then this is the analytics over here. Click that one.
That's really cool. Thanks for showing. Because like I've been wondering exactly what it would look like when people do it. Like if it would just be a single like link or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's cool to see like how it actually functions.
I think we had it. There it is. That's the rate data we had, and it shows that this is the type of analytics that it shows.
Nice.
I thought it was very
Awesome.
neat. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, if you get one person from that, like, sweet, right? Like one person,
Mhm.
maybe one person a month. You know, like it's just it seems pretty inexpensive, an investment for a park to have a QR code and have a little sign like that, and it stops people from being afraid from coming up and trying to talk. They can just hit the QR code and go about their day. And
You don't have to worry, oh, am I interrupting or anything? Or
Mhm. And of course,
Those-
that would stop people from also coming up and talking, you know, like hit the QR code and leave. So there's a negative as well, but I think the overall, there's a real benefit.
Well, like for us, we've seen a great benefit from having people directed to the Discord because they join and like you hand them a business card or a flyer, they look at it. Maybe if they remember in a week or two, they'll come back. But if they join the Discord and they talk to us and actually like interact, even if they only end up coming out once every, 3 to 5 months, the fact that they're able to get to know us in the Discord keeps them feeling like they're a part of the group and like actually come out. Whereas I feel like a lot of those people, like Mylu, she only comes out, every now and then, but she talks to us in the Discord like a lot. So would we keep her if she only got to see us once every, few weeks? Maybe not.
Engagement is always good.
And
Yep.
anything that increases engagement is good.
I completely agree with that. Thank you, Jose, for showing us that link tree and doing the legwork on that. That's really awesome.
No
All
problem.
right. Digital waivers. We've talked about this for a couple months now. This is
was there
should
an
the board
was there an action item to go with the QR code? Like having the liaison promote them to the various lands, or
That sounds like a
That's a-
brilliant action item.
Yeah, let's make Paul do. I love it.
Actually, even if all he did was like the website that Chicken used and like that brief show of how it worked, that would be really good for like showing people, hey, this is cool.
This meeting will be posted on YouTube afterwards, right?
Yeah.
YouTube, and then it'll be shared on Discord and Facebook.
I mean, if Paul just clipped that part of the YouTube video and put it out to
Oh yeah.
all of our different social medias, or everything for internal use.
The part of me struggling to explain.
Yeah.
Hey, it
What's
was
struggling?
a good explanation, though. Like, I think you did an awesome job. And
Thank
now I'm
you.
like actually super interested in that, whereas I was a little like hesitant to figure out how it worked before
I appreciate it.
because I'm not computer savvy.
That's okay. We all learn at our own pace. All right. So for digital waivers, what I would like to do is have a discussion on whether or not the BOD, everybody here, should think that we should do something about digital waivers. Should we move forward talking about digital waivers?
Waivers are a contract. So I think they fall strongly under our purview.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think that
Yep,
that is
yep.
a reasonable statement. I do, however, think that we should. We were talking about doing something that costs money, and for anything that would be that way, we should probably do an all thing for it.
Of course.
I strongly
First, an all thing to approve developing it, and then later an all thing to approve accepting it.
Well, I mean, as far as development goes, I think we would really be best suited just using the services that are out there that are created by professionals, and that we would just have to like basically customize for ourselves, which pretty much every single website guaranteed was super easy. So I think it would be best to just do an all thing asking the populace permission to use funds to move to digital waivers, and then the monarchy and people can decide on, you know, what website to go with or stuff like that. I don't think the populace needs to really, you know, get into the gritty details, just whether they want to do it or if they're happy with paper waivers and they don't want to do it.
Let me ask a clarification question.
Mm-hmm.
James, were you talking about first having an all thing to tell the BOD to pursue this as an option and then bring it? Is that what you're saying for a first all thing item?
Yes.
What I'm sorry, James, go for it.
Yeah. Asking if the populace thinks that this is something that should be pursued. Maybe we don't need to ask them. Maybe we do, but
I like the idea of putting it forth to an all thing simply because it gets everybody gets buy-in on it. I don't see a reason to be like, we're doing this because we can. There's no aggressive reason to do that, in my opinion. What I would like is to see everybody here is important. Everybody here is a real veteran of this game. Is this something that would be of value? Is this something that we want to do? Is this something that we should move forward and encourage the entire kingdom to adopt? We're looking at 70 waivers a month for $120 a year. That's the low end.
So just to clarify then, if we're going to put it to a vote, whether or not we should even proceed with doing digital waivers, are we going to have a subsection of that vote saying we give permission to the BOD to put money down for doing those digital waivers? Because I think it would be easier to do that all at once than to make them two separate all things.
We can make that all one proposal. That's easy.
Yeah, I'm glad with one proposal. I don't like the idea of two, for the reasons
right
Victoria just said.
Perfect.
Okay.
Make the proposal one proposal instead of two, funding and viability.
Okay, so what if we're gonna propose that all thing item to the monarch? You all right there, Utah? Anyways, if you're gonna propose that, what do we'd want to probably give an amount to get approved? So what kind of amount do we want to give to get approved? Is that $70 per month or year? What was it?
120 a year for 70 waivers per month.
Gotcha. Is that 120 per year a level that's going to work for us, or is that something we need to do we need to I don't know what I'm asking.
I think we should probably do
Can we afford it?
I think would you Right. I think what you're saying makes sense. I think we should probably make sure we can afford it, but we should also look at a couple different options and see what our high ball is and what our low ball is, and maybe just ask for the high ball and say that this isn't necessarily how much it's going to cost, but if we wanted to be on the higher end of the spectrum with regards to which program we use, this is how much we are anticipating would have to be spent.
As a note, the high end of that was an outrageously huge amount of waivers that I do not think our kingdom would ever be able to do. So I would say midline, because the high end was like unlimited waivers for like $1,000 a month. But
well, when I say high ball, I mean like high ball for our standards of like how much money we are willing to put down on.
According to the org, there were less than 200 players signed in across Westmarch at any given month, and there are currently 189 active. If we guesstimate that even as much as half of the players are new that need waivers, that would set our needed monthly waivers at likely 100 less. That puts us to the lowest to second lowest plan for most of these services.
mm-hmm.
On those plans, do we have any research? What happens if we hit the limit?
It depended on the website. Some of them had a amount that was done per waiver that went over. Some of them would just go into the next cycle. Some of them did not say whatsoever.
Because I think if this was a system we were going to use, and we were going to have individual PMs at each park doing getting these waivers signed, because that's how it would end up working. We would, if 70 is the limit for the whole kingdom, we could potentially, especially at the beginning, if we're trying to get everybody waivered again.
Yeah, the first
we
month
could hit the limit.
If we need to re-waiver everyone that first month, we're going to exceed it by a lot.
Right. So, I mean, it
My
would
other
probably
question.
be. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, my other question was, are we going to implement some kind of program for, like, if somebody doesn't show up for so many days or months or whatever, we get rid of their waiver? Because there's going to become a point where are we just going to store them forever?
That's what we do now.
The corpora actually says
well,
we
in
can store
theory,
it for 3
that's what we
years.
do now.
According to our notes from last month, most services offer unlimited free storage, would provide links and apps for easy use, and have a variety of plans. So worst case scenario, if we stop using it, we could download all of the waivers and then upload them to a free Google Docs account as just a random example. But I believe we should keep all the waivers. I hate to say it, but
I just wanted to make sure that we wouldn't get to a point where we wouldn't have the space, or we wouldn't be able to hold, like, if we hit our limit, our cap, like, what do we do? So that was the only question.
My understanding from looking at the various websites was that it is new incoming waivers that are the charge, and any ones that have already been received are basically held forever, or until the company goes bankrupt and takes everything down without warning. But they all seemed to claim, though, that the storage would be basically forever and unlimited as long as you were making the payments for the amount that you got as additional new waivers each month.
So what the corpora says is we have to renew waivers every 3 years. So that would put a theoretical limit on how long we would have to keep them.
Yeah. I'm also pretty sure that not very many people do that.
Yeah, we probably have many waivers we should throw away.
Well, not just throw away, but I'm also pretty sure that, like, a lot of parks are not great at looking at when people were last waivered.
You're probably very correct.
I know Wavering Spur, after COVID, when we started meeting again, we re-waivered everyone. But COVID was a special circumstance on that. Outside of that, yeah, there's probably a lot of waivers that are old.
I love the idea of re-wavering everybody. If we did do the digital waivers, that would give us a viable reason to consider potentially loosing all of the waivers that we had previously. Obviously, we'd have to have like a year moratorium or something to that nature, but I like the idea of re-verifying everybody. That's a great idea, Victoria.
That does mean that every 3 years we would need to go up from 70 a month to 200 for a given month.
Well,
Do
unless
waivers
we
expire
manage
after
to,
3 years?
yes.
Oh,
Well,
my
yeah,
apologies.
people
Well,
are supposed to be
per our
re-wavered every 3 years.
per the Kapora, which is really hard though, because there isn't anywhere that like pops up on the org and it's like, hey, this person's waiver, has hit the 3-year mark, get it redone or something. So unless someone was looking at people's accounts every week to see whose waivers had hit the 3-year mark, it really isn't a reasonable expectation that the PMs would be able to like actually track that very easily.
That's crazy that a waiver would expire after 3 years. I don't get that. I'm sure there's a legitimate reason, obviously, but at this very second, that doesn't make sense to me.
It's not so much that it expires as much as our Kapora wants a new one, for some reason.
So
I would put forth a Kapora update to get rid of that. I don't see why we would need that.
going back to what James was talking about, we could do sort of a rolling waiver thing, like give each park a month that they would be, needing to re-waiver basically, and then we would avoid busting that 70 excessively.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to doing it all in 1 month. Like if we started and we had, I don't know, Wyvern Spur to do the first month, and then some other park the second month, some other park the third month,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd avoid going over our limit.
All right, so is there anybody here that is against looking into the funding and putting forth an all thing about moving Westmarch to the waivers? Is there anybody that's like, no, we're not there yet? And that's fine if you are. This is a safe space. Please say so. I'm going to take the silence as a no. Is there anybody who thinks this is a good idea and we should move forward with it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a very topical issue right now. It's an issue that all AmpGuard is trying to deal with. That's why they took the waivers off of the org. So the solution we found is that there are professional websites that are meant to handle this information.
Okay. Is there anybody here that wants to head up or create a committee to decide which service we should utilize and which payment level we should utilize and how much funding we will need per year to present to the money of Westmarch?
I guess I can do that.
Okay, is that something that you want to do, Rose?
Well, I want digital waivers to become a thing, and if a committee has to be formed to do it, then I would be willing to do that. I don't really like being on committees, but
Oh, it doesn't have to be a committee if you want to do it by yourself. We need to put something in writing to present to the Westmarch monarchy. That's all we need.
well, I already made a report on it listing several different websites with the different payment options and stuff.
I can help Terza put that into written form.
All right.
I mean, it was a written report I shared.
Well, that's true. I'm gonna go ahead.
You made all so what Brian's going for is you made several different options. I think what he wants you to do is come up with a solid proposal of we are going to do this so that James can take it and put it in an all thing and get it voted for.
Are we going to do smart waiver? Are we going to do clever waiver? Are we going to do wave electronic? One of these are we going to use? And then how much does it cost us per year with a 1 month potential balloon payment. So that's what I want, just narrow it down to which one is the best one.
Okay.
And so can Rose Brown and Paul Wilkins connect and choose the best one to provide to Westmarch Monarchy?
Well, would
Is that
we be
acceptable?
wanting to choose the best one or like the best three and then let them choose which one they think is best?
James, what do you prefer?
Well, sorry. Repeat the question.
Which would you prefer that we present the Monarchy one op? Here is the digital waiver service that we should use, or should we present to you 3 options? Here
Give
are
me
3
one.
that you can choose from.
Give me one. I can put that into a corporate proposal easier.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, that'll help me with doing that then, because then I know more what I need to do.
Paul, I'm going to drop in your Facebook these 3 websites. I'm going to put all of this information here. I apologize. It'll be pretty big, but I feel like this is valuable information to send over, and I'll send it over into your Facebook chat right now. Boom. All right, there you go. So if one of you two can put it together in some capacity, and if you need help, please feel free to let me know. I will be very happy to help as well. But let's just get this done.
No worries.
Awesome. All right, trademark Westmarch logo. A couple of years ago, AmpGuard International had we'll call it a trademarking, where somebody tried to do some this, that, and the other thing. According to our last meeting, the BoD meeting, get in, girls, we're going to register our trademarks. You can register a trademark with your state for $50 to $150. It costs more to register it with the U.S. Trademark Office, but is this something we should consider? So after thinking about it for a month, and should we consider trademarking the Westmarch logo, or do the people in this room think like, no, it's no big deal, we don't care?
I think we should do it, because if the AmpGuard Inc. Says anything, the worst case scenario where someone tries to, steal everything and destroy your organization just because they got pissed off at something is a totally, reasonable expectation of humanity.
Always believe the worst in people. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
But that is sad but true. Thank you very much for Scoot bringing this up last time. For $50 to $150, you can register a trademark with your state. It expires after 5 years, but you can renew for another 5 years. So you're looking at $150 every 5 years, if that's the most expensive option. So do we want to trademark the Westmarch logo? Is this something we should look into doing?
So I think
right now,
I think we should trademark the Westmarch logo, and one of the reasons is if anybody were to try to use the Westmarch logo in any way that wasn't an official Westmarch thing, like run an event and say it's AmpGuard, but it's not, we have a way to control that logo. I don't think we need to do it on the federal level. I think it would be sufficient to be done on the state level.
I would agree that probably the least expensive option, unless there's something that we really get that would be enticing for the more expensive, would probably be the best way to go. $50, if that's the cheapest, is really low for 5 years worth of stuff. But I would want to know exactly what we're getting if we do 3 times that amount for 150 that is worth the extra money.
I will happily head up putting together a proposal and present it in May with everybody's permission, and just say, here's how much it'll cost. I'll tell you right now, my goal is going to be to spend $50 for 5 years. And if there's going to have to be a really good reason to spend more than $50, in my opinion. And I agree with Paul. Hey, somebody in Colorado is using the Westmarch logo. Cool. go for it. I don't care. Like we're California, so that's what we need to protect, in my opinion.
Yeah. I
So-
would more, hey, someone's porn site decided to call itself Westmarch and use our logo, maybe tell them, sorry, that's copyrighted, go use something else.
Scribe, is the scribe still in the meeting? Is the scribe still here?
Yes.
Can you make a note about what Rose just said and circle back with me on it?
Got it.
Thank you.
Don't allow porn sites to use our name.
All right.
Don't
They're
allow.
trademarking a logo.
I do.
So
I think the lawyer wants to say something.
I do. Oh, just something for people to keep in mind. If people within Westmarch try to sell things with that logo on it, it's important to note that we're not necessarily doing this so we're intending to sue them to get any money for that, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because
100%.
theoretically, by getting this trademark, we could keep people from using the logo and making a profit off of it.
Could we
or
add
doing something like that.
Could
So
we add? Sorry. Could we
No, go
add
ahead.
something? Could we add something to the Kapora along the lines of any member of Westmarch is welcome to use it for AmpGuard related stuff, so that people aren't aware that it's like, if you're not, using it for AmpGuard, that's what we're worried about. As long as you're like using it for AmpGuard, then we'd be fine. Would that alleviate that worry?
realistically, it's not that difficult to make a minor change to a logo and make it so the copyright doesn't kick you in the ass.
Yeah.
But it's certainly something that we could present to the populace and be like, hey, we want to do this. We're not doing this because we're trying to prevent people from using it. We're just trying to prevent people from using it maliciously.
Mhm.
So it's just something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And are we talking about just the logo or also the term for Westmarch or?
That's actually what I was going to comment on. It would be a trademark for the logo, copywriting the name, completely separate process, and would for Westmarch, very difficult. It's been in Lord of the Rings, it's been in Diablo, it's
Yeah, we
Right.
do feel that.
Yeah, I don't think we could get the name really with the amount of effort that
Right.
would be worthwhile.
in AmpGuard, when you see BODs that have names that are different from the kingdom, it's specifically so that that could be copyrighted. Like the BOD will be like something adventure games. That was so that they could copyright that name.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I will put together a proposal and I will bring it up in May. I may email it to some of you fine individuals if I am healthy enough to do so. I apologize for having to step away earlier. I'm still not feeling the best. And that's why this is much more scattered meeting than it normally is, and I apologize for that. Okay, Paul, would you like to potentially talk about the trailer at all? If you don't have anything to say, that's completely fine. Doesn't need to be brought up, but do you have any thoughts on that from our previous meeting in February?
I do not currently. I will explore the topic more.
Perfect. I absolutely love it. I was informed by a couple individuals, including Azus and goodness gracious, Deimos, about this section of the Kapora. If you can't read it, I'm just going to read it out loud. This is under Section 7, Feast of Mars. A storage unit may be provided to store the Feast of Mars assets while they are not in use. The storage unit must be prepaid for 1 year in advance from the event proceeds. Now, this is just the first notification of storage. There's also under the next section, Section 8, War of the Darkshore, with a storage unit may be provided to store the Darkshore Castle while it's not in use, using Darkshore assets. Right now, a lot of Westmarch inventory, which we still need to talk about inventory. We haven't gotten to it. We have a giant list. A lot of the inventory is in Azus's backyard. And I talked with Azus about this because I wanted to be very proactive on like, hey, is this okay that we're doing this? And he said, to his kindness, it's currently being stored in an unused space. And there's another individual named Bacchus, who I have met, I do not know well, who is also storing things like a generator for Westmarch. At some point in time, we should really consider what we should do for storage. In King City, I did some research, and it's $75 a month for a storage unit in King City. Now, could a
that's a good idea.
How big?
could a 5x5.
Woof, that wouldn't fit the stuff.
That's not much.
Yes, there is 10x10 as well for $100. Could a nonprofit get a better rate? Could we get a better rate for signing a 3-year contract? Possibly. But after 5 years of $75 a month, you've paid for a trailer. Now, where do you park the trailer? Other individuals have expressed interest like, oh, we have to have insurance. We'd have to have maintenance and upkeep on the trailer, that sort of thing. This is not, there's no easy answer here, but there are storage units available in King City, and the funds earned from Feast of Mars and War of the Dark Shore would pay for them. But the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm worried that Kyle and Sarah are going to be storing stuff from Westmarch, and they're going to say, I'm done, get it, and they chuck it all. And we have zero recourse for that type of stuff. Is that an unnecessary concern? Yes, but we should be storing this stuff. We should have a possibility. We should have the capability to store things in a safe and secure location. And if we have to use Feast of Mars funds and Dark Shore funds to do a storage unit, I believe those events are profitable, and it's something to consider. Am I going to make that decision? Not at all.
That would be so much more convenient if everything was already in King City, so nobody had to haul it down in their cars too.
There are 2 storage unit facilities in King City. I did not come up with this idea. Damos did. Well, he told me that there were storage units in King City. So that's a very possible option, and it's already in the Compora. A storage unit may be provided, but between the funding for Feast of Mars and Dark Shore, I feel like $75 to $100 a month it's a lot of money, but it's something they could potentially do. I'm pro trailer. I will mention that.
It does lock us into even further into requiring King City, which I'm not a fan of, but
okay, that's all right.
Well,
Belagarth is currently holding an event in King City this month too.
If we wanted to change away from King City, we would just probably have to put the date with when our thing expired. It would just mean, hey, we probably don't want to go for a 3-year contract if we're actively looking for a different place.
Yeah, that's very true. We'd do a 1-year contract, and yeah, having to eat the cost would suck if we moved.
And then there's still transporting it to wherever else it goes. And a lot of these goods aren't just at Dark Shore, they're at Midrain for all the cooking gears can get used there.
Yeah.
And that does move all over the place.
So I'm going to put no real good option at the moment, sadly. Cohort calls for storage. I'm going to put may not required. So it's good that it's not required in the Compora, so that's nice, but it's an option, so that's good.
Yeah, and I do like the idea of using Westmarch and Feast of Mars funds for it. That's cool. But
yeah, that's a rough one. I like the trailer idea. I'm gonna just say that just to put it into the notes. That trailer moves around, trailer's great, but where are you gonna put it? You know, who's gonna be comfortable putting a trailer in their yard for as long as I would. I've got room for a trailer, but I'm not local, unfortunately.
See, I was laughing because Mr. Brown still has the castle on a trailer in his backyard.
Yes, but that's an SG tower, not a
I've got
Westmarch item.
Well,
I've
I
got
get
a 14,
that, but it's just funny.
Yeah, I've got a 14 by 12 box trailer that I keep my Renaissance Fair encampment in, and it's so useful. I throw everything in there. When I go to Amcrod, I literally go into my trailer and pull out what I'm going to use for the day and take off. But yeah,
My
I don't know.
question is though, like realistically speaking, what is the difference between forcing, not, and I hate to say forcing, but forcing somebody to just store Amtgard stuff at their house and forcing somebody to store an Amtgard trailer at their house? Because either way, you're shifting the burden onto an individual to have to store all of this stuff.
Yep.
I think
Like
the
one is a
only
little bit
real-
more convenient because it's in a trailer, but
I would say
realistically, they
that
still have, there's the fear of, well, what if the trailer is stolen on their property? Like, what do they do?
Well, we could rent a parking spot for the trailer in King City.
Actually, I was as we were all talking, I was actually looking that up as an option.
It is a
Having
thing for
it in
storage
the-
places, right?
Yeah, I mean, down here, there's tons of them.
Yeah, I've seen that where like they do that for taco
At
trucks
certain
where they,
places, you could do that.
yeah.
well, down here we also have Marines, so like there's a shit ton of them in Oceanside because Pendleton's right there.
Well, I mean, like for instance, in Carlsbad, it's unless you can get it all the way into your backyard, it's illegal to park a RV trailer or a boat trailer on your driveway.
Mhm.
So there are tons of storage facilities that just charge you for a parking spot, basically.
And it's probably $25 a month. But then
Right.
you're
But
spending
then you're
2 to 4
looking at,
grand on a trailer.
Yeah.
exactly. You're looking at paying for a trailer, or paying for the insurance, paying for potential transport, paying for the parking spot. Versus if you were to just pay for a storage unit, and yeah, it's inconvenient that the storage unit might not be right next to where Westmarch Midrain is, but the storage unit, you know for a fact is going to be this one cost payment once a month. You know where all of your stuff is, and in theory, someone might have to make a drive out to go pick up these things, but you know where everything is. So
Yeah.
that's just stuff to consider.
And we
just
could
as,
choose a
like,
storage unit that was between King City and where the majority of Westmarch players are as well. It wouldn't even have to be in King City.
Yeah, and stuff that's needed for mid-range
Right.
could just be stored up north, seeing as the north is the only one who gets to use that stuff anyway, whereas the King City stuff could be for the, joint event stuff, which is having to be hauled halfway down the state anyway.
James, you're at the top of all of this. What's your thought process on having stuff available for mid-rain? Like, would you think driving to King City to get stuff for mid-rain would even be an option?
Yes, it's an option.
Okay, so
Is it a good option?
I mean, down south, but we always have our mid-range without stuff.
That's true.
On the other hand, you do have cooking and stuff at your quals. Not that we do quals necessarily the same way anymore, but
But
I
yeah,
know you guys make a bigger deal of your quals than we did up here.
Yeah.
they have the stuff and they want to use the stuff, and Amtgard
Right.
at the end of the day is more than just foam tag. So I think encouraging arts and crafts is important.
I'm just saying, like, if the stuff is used, mostly for smaller events up north, would it necessarily make sense to store it with the stuff that's mostly for Dark Shore and Feast of Mars? So I'm just
Mhm.
advocating, maybe instead of being like, let's put it all together, if we're going to spend money on the storage unit, we spend money on the storage unit that's needed for the big event stuff mostly.
I know at one of the fairly recent coronations, they did use all the Regent boxes, all 5 giant tubs and a bunch of big boxes and everything, because I took them home with me. So there are events other than Dark Shore that are using them,
Well, I'm just saying,
but
like,
they're
would it
rare.
make more sense to, like, if they're using those for a bunch of small events, those don't get put in the storage thing and get kept, up north. And anything they need for Dark Shore, they bring down. But like the bigger stuff and the stuff that's more, specifically for Dark Shore or Feast of Mars gets put in the storage thing. And then we're using up less of the storage space on, stuff that's used for other things.
I think there's probably almost as much stuff, or if not more stuff, of these small cooking supplies and stuff than there is for Castle and Lamps.
Oh,
Okay.
All right, I think this has been a good conversation about the trailer and storage. I think this is something that we should think about for a bit. Can we table this until next month?
Sure.
Perfect. I appreciate it. All right. AMP Wiki. This is something that I am working on. Please let me know if you can see the AMP Wiki here. I think y'all can.
Yes.
Nice.
I made a Westmarch BoD page, and here is what I would like to do. And I'm not going to do this if there is pushback. So please know that everybody here has a voice. They always have. Same thing. So this is the AMP Wiki home for the Westmarch Board of Directors. Very similar to CA AmpGuard. It's going to have some links and such like that. But here's a link to the Westmarch BoD handbook. Here's the link to the ledger. Here's the SOP for Westmarch tax. Here's the current members of the BoD. Here's the current members of the monarchy. Here's the link to Westmarch BoD minutes. Here's a link to the Westmarch Kapora. So what I found out when I was looking for documents on CA AmpGuard, and I'm going to attempt to replicate this. I'm going to go to the BoD here, and I'm going to scroll down to the minutes. And I was looking at the minutes for previous meetings to try and find out when certain things were talked about with AmpGuard International. And when I clicked on the minutes, okay, this one worked. This is great. This one was published using Google Docs. Awesome. I was looking at 2021. So let's see. Let's see if this works here. The selected attachment does not exist anymore. There's several attachments, unfortunately, on the CA AmpGuard site that did not work. I'm glad that I found a Google Docs one that did, but a lot of them don't exist. I don't know why. That's research that I'll look into. But I want to host minutes on a Google Docs account. I tried to create a Westmarch BoD Gmail account. It exists already. I'm in the process of trying to find out who has access to that email address. So far,
that is separate from the Westmarch Gmail that I and Wendy have access to.
That's correct, James. I'm looking to create a Westmarch BoD one just so I can just host all the minutes on a Google Docs and get 15 free gigabytes and just host every Word document ever, so that we can make it public and be like, here it is, and put the link right here. Link to Westmarch BoD minutes, Google Docs /BoD minutes. And that way, I'm really big into kind of creating history. Is this okay if I move forward with this?
I think this is awesome.
Wonderful. I already mentioned my health. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I didn't do anything on the BoD handbook, and that's on me. I'm very sorry. I will get to it. What was I going to say next? Oh, yeah. So that's AMP Wiki. I'm going to continue filling this out. If anybody has any suggestions or things they want me to do or not do, please feel free to let me know. Okay, I'm going to move on to a brief follow-up on AmpGuard International. This is something from last month. I said I was going to create an email that I wanted to send to AmpGuard International. Here is what I want to send them as a fact-finding information. I'm going to read this. I want people to tell me what they hate about it and if they think it's a good idea to send. Please be brutally honest. To AmpGuard International, my name is Brian Ouellette. I represent the Board of Directors for Westmarch, King of AmpGuard, located in California. I'd like to confirm the data that I have regarding payments made from Westmarch to AmpGuard International. Below, there will be 2 screenshots that seem to show an overpayment of $2,996 from 2017 to current. I actually hate that. I'm going to rewrite that. Our request is to receive any information you may have about several short topics. The details behind the prior payments made from Westmarch to SG, specifically payments made from 2017 to 2021, I will list those payments below. Clarification that for 2023 and beyond, the new yearly payment is $500 as per the new AmpGuard International Kingdom Licensing Agreement. Based on the information of the payments, I appreciate you reading this message and thank you for your response. It's greatly appreciated. I wrote this while I was sick, so it's not amazing. But what I want to do is send something like this. I already know I'm going to rewrite this, but what I'm trying to do is find out why these payments were made and what listed as Amcard International for these payments.
The Westmarch symbol being in the column instead of as a centered header drives me crazy. Everything else is brilliant.
So I should do this?
Yes.
Hey, done, Paul. All right, seems
My
to
OCD
show.
is so happy.
And
So-
was the follow-up step on this do we still need to pay this year because we have this much overage, or is that a separate thing?
That's a question I'm going to leave with you guys. When we talked about it last month, I was not going to bring that up. I would like to.
Go throw it away as a ball. Hold it as a ball.
Because of this overpayment, is it possible that perhaps Westmarch does not owe yearly payment funds for 2023 or 2024 due to our prior good faith payments?
I would like recommend changing that instead of saying, is it possible, saying we request either a refund or what's the word, credit of the overpayment to future funds.
I would also move it down to be bullet point 3 instead of part of the paragraph.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So let's go like this. Because of our overpayment, our prior overpayment. Somebody give me how to write this.
Due to our prior overpayment, we request either a refund of payments or a credit to future payments. Something like that.
Because of our prior overpayment, we request a credit to future licensing payments. Is that acceptable?
Or a refund.
I think Terza was right, and due to our sounds better than because of our.
Okay. I'm brain fogging right now, just to let y'all know.
No worries. Sean, no.
All right, so if I sent this to the Amcard International Facebook page as a private message, is this acceptable? What needs to be changed? Cough, Victoria Kathleen cough.
So
House, give me one.
So as far as I've been able to research, because I did some research on this whole subject.
Yeah, you are definitely
the 500 per year is a new yearly agreement that is independent of everything else.
Yes.
I was told that we basically overpaid voluntarily because other kingdoms were having troubles paying.
I can confirm that information. I did hear that as well.
Along those lines, does it do us any good to send this letter?
No.
If they give us money back, yes. Which is why I would request a refund.
I was also told that the proper channel to do this would be to have at the next Circle of Monarchs meeting, have our monarch bring it up.
That's putting a lot on James.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, but I was told that was the proper channel.
I don't know if it needs to be at a Circle of Monarchs meeting. I think this is just a query. This isn't even necessarily an official request.
So I actually had the opportunity to bring this up and did not because I knew the BoD was already talking about it, our BoD with Amcard International.
And I didn't want to throw that on James. I made that call because I said I was writing this email, and I didn't want James to throw that in when he wasn't prepared or maybe didn't even want to talk about it, that sort of thing. I didn't want to put that on you, James. If you want to be proactive and bring it up, go for it, of course.
I would take the question mark off of item 3 because it doesn't make sense in the statement.
Why?
Because it's not written as a question, but then it has a question.
Due to our prior overpayment, can we request a credit to future licensing payments?
Can makes it a question.
Okay, sorry, I missed the can. I'm reading on my phone. So I was reading it as due to our private overpayment, we request. Sorry, my bad.
The time period where I could submit a request to Council of Monarchs is already passed, and I will be out of office by the time the next one comes up.
Sweet. Sorry, guys. That's my bad.
No,
Well,
I
then
think
I'm gonna
this.
send.
I think we still. So I think we have a fiduciary duty to our the members of AmpGuard to ask about these funds.
Yeah. And I think it's totally legitimate, even if we did overpay before, because there wasn't this yearly licensing fee that, you know, was in agreement when we overpaid. When we overpaid, it was with the understanding that there was a specific amount of money they were trying to raise funds up to. But then they didn't make that amount of money and they didn't need to because the legal issue got resolved. And it's like they cut off the contract we agreed to halfway through and then just were like, well, everyone who didn't pay at all is good because we, you know, didn't end up needing the money. But the people who were slightly ahead of the payments still have to pay that because we don't want to give the money back.
So it's not that they didn't need the money. That money got used in legal fees.
Well, they didn't need the money that they originally told us that they needed up to, though, because they never raised up to that amount.
I think they did. They just took it from us instead of other lands. Which was why, so bullet points 1 and 2 are definitely still things that I would like answers to. 3 is the only one that is specific to our kingdom overpaying. So perhaps we just leave it at 1 and 2.
How about if we get the answers to 1 and 2, we then request 3?
Right. So 3 can be a follow-up letter.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
That makes sense.
All right. I will probably tinker with this a little bit more and send it to a couple of you before I send it, but this will be sent before the next Westmarch BoD meeting if I get a second.
Okay.
Question, the details behind the allocation of prior payments made from Westmarch to SG.
Ha!
Wait, the kingdom is paying us? What's going on here?
I was trying to figure that out too. I was sitting here like,
we tried to pay you
what
for.
am I missing?
That's the thing.
If you're looking for the payments that Westmarch made to SG, they're significantly less than we would be happy with, and you're welcome to give us any money you feel like we owe.
Please give us all the money.
I can have a conversation about that if you want.
I've talked about building a castle for a reason.
We have a castle.
I want a bigger one.
Well,
I told them we already got one. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to the itinerary and new licensing fee for kingdoms. If you can't read this, this is from Elspeth Charicella from 2019. I got in contact with this wonderful individual and asked for some details about this information, but this does show how we were attempting to donate money to the AmpGuard. Sorry for the 1 second.
They are the teacher.
That's fine. It just.
Okay, there we go. All right, sorry about that. All right, so this individual brought up 2019 concerns about the funding for Amcard International with payments made by Westmarch. So absolutely, this has been a concern in the past. I did not find any answers for this. So if any of you, for any reason, are able to find answers about this information that it will be beneficial adding to what I'm going to ask Amcard International, please let me know. And my brain's fogging. I'm sorry, guys. Is there any topics that we want to add to our May agenda as we slowly round out this meeting? There are several of you on mute, to let you know. If not, you can add topics by emailing me later.
Deciding when it is going to be is something of an issue.
Do we actually, in all honesty, have a bilingual flyer? Somebody.
That is a wonderful topic, Rose. That's a really good topic. We definitely, I strongly think that's a wonderful idea. All right, email me or PM me or Discord me or Facebook me with topics to be added to May. We are going to be talking about trademarking Westmarch logo, digital waivers, possibly more information about Linktree, definitely information about bank account and tax, and potentially Circle of Paragons. All right, let's schedule this May meeting and get out of here. It's almost 7:30.
But I want to spend more time with everyone.
I believe they do.
Well, skip Twin Mass this week and come to the park.
Paul, you are muted.
No, I'm not.
No, Paul, Etah is muted.
Oh, okay.
Tuesdays work well for me, or Wednesdays or Mondays.
I am left aligning this or right aligning this just for Jay.
I prefer Wednesdays of those choices, but I can do Monday or Tuesday. Actually, at the moment, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So Wednesdays as well?
Yeah. If you schedule the meeting in hieroglyphs, I may not attend.
If you don't
not
schedule it in
hieroglyphs,
hieroglyphs, I won't attend.
It's wingdings.
Jay will only attend if it's wingdings.
So the big question is, I leave office on the 20th.
Okay.
We will know the new monarch by then, right?
In theory, yes. And at the moment, Porkins is the only one who is declared, and technically declarations have now closed. I
mean,
might swing that a bit if Zeus changes his mind, because Porkins specifically said he would rather support someone else.
I think that the 17th makes good sense because you can close your stuff out. We can invite the new monarch. They can potentially start new things. And it meets the Wednesday criteria that Thistledown gave.
May 17th, which is a Wednesday. Is there anybody who cannot do Wednesday at 6 p.m.?
I'm all good on Wednesdays.
I'm good on Wednesday.
Okay.
Works for me.
Awesome.
That was the easiest scheduling ever. What's wrong?
I can't think of anything. With everybody's permission, let's move to adjournment.
I would like a clarification first.
Let's hear it.
Thistledown, will we be getting credits for this meeting?
Yes, this is a scheduled meeting.
Sweet.
Ooh, color credit.
Okay, so everybody gets color, and we should probably remind Cindy to enter those into the org.
Wonderful. All right. I move to adjourn this meeting.
Seconded.
Second.
Thank you guys very much. The next meeting will be much more. I got nothing.